This is the Sony KV-XA29M31, a television from the year 2000 featuring 68cm or 29-inch pure flat Trinitron tube. This was a recent pickup. Unfortunately, it's been disposed of carelessly and scuffed all along the top, especially down this end where it's really shaved off the plastic. Unfortunately, I briefly powered it up. The picture was nice and blue, didn't have any discoloration in it, so I thought, well, it's working well enough to bring it home and fire it up and see what happens. So if you're watching, it must have worked. Flaps down, S-video, composite video, stereo left to right headphones, and your basic controls as you would expect. If I didn't say this was released in around the year 2000, the manual is available on Sony's own website. There's the left side of the television. Also the other side, note there's no inputs on the side. You already saw that with the input on the front, behind the flap. If we go around, get the sun on the back. It's got the carry handles, of course, on the sides like TVs typically do, but it also has at the back, so that's handy for a bit of extra help if you've got another person or even 2 or 3 of you all up or whatever. At least it's got something extra there to carry it by. There's the label, model number again, 220/240 volts, made in Malaysia. Finally, the all-important connections component being the key one. Another S-video, several composite, a bit of in and out. What we need to do is open it up and have a look inside. We're inside this beefy unit, label on the tube there, plenty of details. A couple of speakers in each side. Fairly sizable chassis. Again, a couple of speakers over there. Don't see a country of manufacture on the tube. The tube is labelled M68LNH070XM. Perhaps it's got a high line count. I noticed a couple of other things here too. When that back shell's off, it reveals a connector. 4-pin connector, so perhaps that's some sort of servicing socket connection point. And the other thing I want to point out, as a little side note, the component input board has a couple of screws in it. It actually, it's quite loose and you could get that out without much trouble, and it plugs into this subboard, but I wouldn't be surprised if you could switch it around with SCART somehow. Perhaps the European models have a SCART assembly and the service menu set to Europe, so it takes RGB, so that's an experiment someone could delve into if they really wanted to be keen about it. I can see how sharp the image is via that text on the blue screen. Also, when the menu comes up, the text here looks quite sharp too for a regular television. So I definitely think the tube is a high line count one. No doubt I'll adjust these adjustments when I get a proper picture on screen soon enough. Perhaps the main thing to consider, oh no, I don't want widescreen, but obviously it can accommodate it. And rotations are perhaps one important one that we may need to use. That looks pretty good. Let's put on Duck Hunt on the NES and see if light gun works. Straight into it. 2 ducks, good start, good sign. I've turned the sharpness right down. I prefer it a bit blurry, to be honest. Oh yeah, looking good. A 50 and 60 Hz refresh rate on the TV indeed. Just go one more. And then we'll go on to an NTSC. Source, most likely the Saturn. As it is, the light gun works, that's a pass. Okay, we're on the Sega Saturn now. Via NTSC S-video. No problems displaying colour. You can see here in the menu, if we go down, colour system is auto. Switch to PAL, CCAM, NTSC, and the other NTSC. So we'll leave it on auto, no reason to drift away from auto at all. No surprise at all, but just a confirmation that it does display NTSC via S-video and all the others as well, no doubt. We move on to the PlayStation 2 via component, so we're starting to get quite serious now. Let's do our graphics check. We're on 480i. We'll go, say, 480p, which shouldn't work. No, doesn't work as expected. But what we do want to do is go to 240p over component. Yeah, it's much better, isn't it? Much better than that interlace mode. It's just nice and stable now, so that appears to be working quite fine. No dramas there. While we're on the PS2, may as well play a little bit more. Something in 3D. Show the television off a little bit.
Fight one. Ready, go!
I think this game's making a bit of a comeback too soon. A new entry in the series perhaps. Probably long overdue. Righto, well what I might do next is put on the pattern generator so we can have a look at the geometry and the convergence of the TV. Crosshatch up. Fairly misconverged up in this corner and this corner and this corner and even this corner as well. All four corners have a fair bit, but particularly this top left side. It would be worth opening up and adjusting the back end of the television to try and improve it. It's something that I won't tackle on this particular television today or at this time. However, we're also a bit slanted that way over there. It's not unusual for these Sonys to do it. I'm waiting to get another television again that's really straight out of the box straight away, if you know what I mean. It's been a long time since I've seen a real straight one come out. I'm starting to doubt myself whether these things exist. So this is on 480i, and here I can go again 480p, 720p, 720p and 1080i. So again, it doesn't support progressive scan. And there's our 576i. We are in service mode. Hence this area here, service mode. It's the old trick of pressing display, then 5, then volume plus and power on the remote when the TV's in standby. Press those keys as you go along. Quickly press them, and when the TV turns on, you'll be in the service menu. 1.5M refers to the software revision of the television. This last code here refers to the amount of hours that the TV has been running for. That's in hexadecimal format. When converted to decimal, it equals 23,003 hours, not a totally unexpected hour count on a television. This is an interesting screen. This is not part of the service menu. This is a separate menu with a separate code to get into it. This is a self-diagnostic screen. To get into this one, it's very similar to the service menu. When the TV's in standby, you press the button screen display, then channel 5, volume down or minus, then power on, and you'll get into this screen. This is a fault displaying screen. All the zeros are a good sign, which means the TV currently has no faults. Happy days are here. Remember this game? To conclude the video, I've got the Wii U hooked up via component video. This television is very similar to another one I reviewed recently, the Sony KV-XA29M31. Like this, it also has a 50 and 60 Hz refresh rate, 29-inch or 68 centimeter tube, pure flat. Very comparable. The other one's 2003, a little newer than this one. You can watch the review by clicking on the link on the screen now. This television didn't really have any surprises. Good to confirm that it's 50 and 60 Hz in its refresh rate, light gun compatible. Had the troubles with misconvergence, not unusual on Sonys and flat Sonys in particular. Decent television, no surprises. I'm sure it'll be sought after. I'm glad to have reviewed it and put it into my library of videos. I'm always on the lookout for any Sonys that I haven't had yet. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for the next video.